Hello and welcome to The Extra Shot. My name is Charlie.
And I'm Marshall. Before we start, we want you to follow the show on social media at The Extra Shot LTU on both Instagram and on Twitter. Today is a massive show again. We've had a lot of massive shows throughout our run here. We're discussing the La Trobe Student Union election, which is happening this week with our senior producer, Asil Samak. And this week's Human to La Trobe segment, we have Matthew Dawson, who is the president or a member. We're not quite sure. We'll fix that up.
We'll find out later.
Of the Trobe Buddhist Studies Society. We also take a look at the Alice and Wonderland exhibit at ACMI, which will be good. But first, Charlie has the news.
Thank you, Marshall. The New South Wales Premier has vowed to shut down popular music festival DEFCON 1 after a mass overdose over the weekend. A 23-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman died after collapsing at the event. 3 other festival goers remain in a critical condition in hospital, while 700 other people were treated on scene for drug-related injuries. DEFCON 1 is an annual music festival playing hardcore techno, house and trance music. It has taken place in Sydney since 2009 at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. 69 people have been charged with drug-related offences, including 10 charges for intent to sell. The New South Wales Premier released a statement following the event that reads, "I never want to see this event held in Sydney or New South Wales ever again. We will do everything we can to shut down this event." As Hurricane Florence tears through the Carolina states in the US, Brad Pitt and his foundation have fielded accusations that they built substandard and faulty homes following Hurricane Katrina in 2005. In a lawsuit that was filed last week, New Orleans residents in the state of Louisiana stated that Pitt and his organization called Make It Right engaged in unfair practices, fraud, and negligence in the construction of 109 homes in the wake of the hurricane. Residents were not notified when the foundation began using defective and cheap materials to build their new homes. Engineering inspection reports from the last 5 years that were conducted by the foundation, which would have given homeowners an insight into the issues in their homes, were never handed over. Residents were asked by employees of Make It Right to sign arbitration and non-disclosure agreements, which waive their rights to openly talk about the company's faults. Complaints against the organisation date back as early as 2009, and since then there has been no effort to amend these issues. And in Australian news, strawberry farmers have begun installing metal detectors at their farms in order to reassure the public that their fruit does not contain needles, after several contamination incidents all across Australia. The Strawberry Growers Association of WA President Neil Handisade said growers had received requests from major retailers and insurance companies that fruit should be scanned for the presence of needles before being sent to any supermarkets. There are still no conclusive answers as to how or where the needles are getting into the fruit, but a representative from Mel Black's label Strawberries has stated that there is no plausible way that these needles could get into the strawberries at the farm, and that someone is doing this at some point after they have left the property. The Queensland Government have put up a $100,000 reward for any information on these contaminations. So, Marshall, what do you think about this? It's pretty horrible.
It's horrible, and it's all going to go back to the farmer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The farmer, the demand for strawberries have gone down because people don't want to buy them if they're obviously at risk of getting hurt.
Yeah.
So there's reports that they're selling punnets wholesale at 33 cents a dollar.
Oh,
33 cents a punnet.
I didn't know it was that low.
At Safeway, they're selling them at $1 a punnet, which is where the farmers aren't making any money off. So there's reports that farmers are just throwing away what they grow.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos on Facebook of mass dumpings of strawberries like in the fields and things like that because they just can't sell them anymore. And I also read another news article that a needle has been found in a banana. Currently it's only one banana, but it seems like there's a vendetta against the fruit industry is what I've been reading. But I don't know, it's odd.
It's also sucked again for the farmers because it just takes one little screw up like this, maybe not on their part obviously, but one little screw up to really affect the industry as a whole.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty horrible. So I hope it all gets fixed soon.
Absolutely.
So this week at La Trobe is the student union elections. So we went out into the Agora to ask people what they think about these campaigns and people handing out flyers in the Agora and their strategies.
This week at La Trobe, it's the student union elections, and we're going to ask people what they think about all the campaigners around the Agora and the elections as a whole. So, Mr. Gal, what do you know about the student union elections and the parties involved?
Absolutely nothing. I know that there's unite and stand up. That's pretty much it.
I don't really know that much. I know there's like people hanging around trying to like grab you and go and vote.
Pretty annoying. You can't even go get a coffee without getting bombarded.
The elections are for the student union. Do you know much about the organisation as a whole, apart from the different parties?
They run free barbecues. That's pretty much it.
And wellbeing events, and they're on level 2 of the Agora, I think.
Like part of the fee that we pay, like yearly, they take some of it and like do activities for everyone.
All I know is for 1 week out of the year, they're harassing me to vote for them.
They don't contextualise what a student union is for, and so you have people who don't actually have student union memberships, don't actually strengthen the union, and people don't even understand what is the function of the student union.
Top 2 or 3 tactics to avoid them.
Phone in one hand's good, coffee in the other hand, maybe talking on the phone, pretending you're in an important conversation, sending an email maybe.
Try not to be nice. I know that's like really bad, but like they'll like pounce as soon as they see someone smiling at them.
I can't avoid them. I'm too nice. I just like I can't stop talking to them once they start.
Just say I've voted already.
I'm just going to write my own name on the ticket and then vote for myself. How about that?
That's it, Marshall. You're voting for Marshall every year. He's got my vote.
Now joining us in the studio today to talk about the elections is our senior producer, Asil. How are you?
Welcome,
and how are the
Asil.
elections went?
Hi guys, I'm good. How are you? How's it going?
We're good.
So we've got student union elections outside in the Agora happening right now. I don't know, have you guys been harassed yet?
Actually, no. Not this year. It's not that bad.
I heard reports that last year there was
Last
in the
year was
Agora
really bad.
in the Agora right now there was
Really
security
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
week because there was really bad stories from last year. But I don't know much about it as a whole.
I spoke to actually one of the security guards yesterday, and he was saying that they're just out here just to basically maintain the peace, make sure that it's a democratic process and nothing happens and so on.
Yeah.
But I think, from what like that package that was just up there, most people don't really know what the elections is about, or what the student union is. I was on the student union in 2015, and I think it's really important for students to know that what the student union does and so on, and what they're voting for. And I think that's what's kind of really lacking at the moment. And like as you can see up right now, like on La Trobe Stalk Space, people ask all these questions and there's no answers really. So I guess essentially what the student union is it's the representative group of students at La Trobe. The people that we vote for actually get to sit on boards. They get to meet with the vice chancellor. They actually get a say in terms of things that happen on campus. One year the student union was responsible for getting the lights up on like near Car Park 3, how it used to be like really dark. It's about safety. Running surveys as well, things like that. And of course, free food. Everybody loves the free food, like the chill out trolley and the barbecues and everything, and creating that kind of hype around campus, having Stressless Week, and just being there for students and making sure that students like enjoy their university life and get the best kind of treatment possible by the university. But yeah, I brought in some ballot
There's
papers.
a lot of different ones.
Yeah, and I think people get like really confused by them. So I thought maybe we can kind of go through them.
Should hold up the big one, Charlie, and show them how many different
All right, let's go through them one by one. So the one
This one?
Yeah, that one, the one that Charlie's got up now is the NUS delegate one. So this is the National Union of Students, and La Trobe gets a few positions on the National Union. And so as you can see, there's a lot of things that you can vote for. So
we could read some of them because I think there's some interesting parties to choose
interesting
from.
tickets there. Yeah, like have a look at it, see what.
There's one called Yeet.
Yeah.
I think there's Thanos did nothing wrong. If you're into that sort of style, dank memes, of course, is a favourite in this ticket.
That's so funny.
There's heaps of different parties, but one thing I sort of thinking about seeing all these sort of joke sort of entries, it sort of diminishes what they want the elections to be.
Well, I think part of it is because students don't know what they're voting for. So the parties are trying to find ways to get students interested, and one of them is by naming the tickets. But if you hold up the second, sorry, no, the blue one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. So that one is actually the one for the student union itself, and that's the one with the different, you've got president, vice president, and so on. And the president, the vice president, you've got the general secretary and the welfare officers, and they're the ones that you're actually seeing on campus and the ones that are in charge of all the activities and so on. And so you've got two main teams. You've got Stand Up and you've got Unite, plus you've got a few independents actually running this year. So you've got an independent for president and an independent for women's officer. And so all the people you see outside are usually either Stand Up, Unite, or from the Socialists, and Socialists are running for the National Union of Students, and that's these flyers right here. And each one of them kind of explains how to vote for them as well. So that's why they want to have a chat with you to make sure that you're voting for them.
I think that's one major confusion, is that people just see the elections as these people trying to get them to vote, but no one actually knows what these people are doing. And even though we hear about Unite and Stand Up and things like that, I think people are confused after the elections because they don't hear about the types of things they do. Yeah.
And I think obviously to get into the union, I had to be one of those campaigners, and I can say it's really difficult. I feel from the reactions we saw before, people are like, oh, just don't talk to me, I just want to avoid it and stuff. But at the end of the day, this needs to happen. But the way that it happens is what, I'd like to kind of point out. We don't need to kind of be shoving flyers in people's faces. I think that La Trobe should be a campus that, everyone is aware of the elections. People, it needs to be a little bit more peaceful, and if you are, receiving a flyer, don't be mean. I used to get people who would be like, oh, just beep off and so on, and I'd just be okay, sorry. So I think it goes both ways. If the general student body was a little bit nicer, then the campaigners might be a little bit nicer, and so on and so forth.
It can be it is a balancing act, because as myself, I'm not paying too much attention to the elections.
Yeah.
Because it's just not something that interests me. But you have to just be a genuinely nice person, just in general.
Yeah.
And I think if you do that, you not have to go. You can just say, I'm not interested. Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah, basically.
And
that's right. Yeah. That's a good approach.
Positive. It's not positive. I'm not sure if it's positive because you're not sort of involved with it, but at least you're nice about it.
Yeah.
You're telling them what you think.
That's very true. And I do want to point out one more thing that I think most students don't realise this, but part of your fees actually goes to the student union.
Yeah.
So that I think it's about $150 the semester that you have to pay the student amenities fees. Yeah. Part of that goes to the union, so you might as well vote.
Just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Cecile. We appreciate your opinion on this topic.
No worries.
So now to a sort of different story. I said we're going to look at the Alice in Wonderland exhibit at ACMI here in Melbourne. The two of us went to have a look at that, so here it is.
The world premiere of the Alice in Wonderland exhibition is being held at the Australian Centre for the Moving Image, also known as ACMI. The exhibition features a labyrinth of rooms based on Lewis Carroll's original tale Alice in Wonderland. Each room highlights a different version of this story.
The exhibition in itself is a journey throughout the world of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, yes, but it's also a retrospective, a journey through cinema effects and kind of how they grew in and they developed throughout the years. Alice has been reproduced in film and for over a century.
There are many different installations and art pieces, including original storyboards and scripts, as well as original costumes.
You kind of feel the progress of time as you go. You see all these different, you see the silent movie from 1903, and then you move on to slides, and then you move on to stop motion. And then from stop motion, you jump onto what's more contemporary, like our Mad Hatter Tea Party, which is a CGI light show, if you also want to call it. And yeah, that's very, very contemporary technology. And then moves on to an activity space that also uses a very new technology, an interactive map, and then moves on to the newer films.
The exhibition runs from the 5th of April to the 7th of October. Check out this mysterious exhibition while you still can.
So it's definitely going global. I'm not sure how official it is yet, but I believe it's going to Asia and then hopefully Europe and North America, but I'm not sure how official it is yet, but it's definitely going global, yes.
This has been Charlie Wright reporting for The Extra Shot.
That seemed like a lot of fun, Charlie. Could
It
you
was.
tell us more about that? Because I've never been to ACMI, so
Have you never been to ACMI?
Never.
It's so much fun. It's basically the Australian Centre for the Moving Image has a lot of different art installations, a lot of different media to do with TV, animation, things like that. And so this exhibition, Alice in Wonderland, was all about Alice in Wonderland, the original story, and how many different times it's been adapted. Like, as you saw in the story, I think there's been over 10 movies that they've made.
There's been tons. Of course, you got the Johnny Depp one, which was the most recent
Yeah.
one. As the Mad Hatter.
A lot of different versions of that. So they have all different props and different games and different art installations, and there's a hallway that you saw in there with all these different doors that you can go through. It was really cool. Oh, another thing they had was, I brought a prop, everyone. They have a map that you get when you first enter.
It's a really cool map, by the way.
It is.
Very
So on the
cool. Have a
inside,
look.
it's just like a normal map. But everywhere around the exhibition, you can slide it in to a thing, and it shows a projector story.
Nice.
And every different map is a different character, and every different place you go, it shows a different type of story. So it was really cool.
Was that your favourite thing of the whole exhibit, or what was your favourite thing?
Oh, probably the it's called the Tea Party. I recommend if you go there, you have to do it. Basically, it's like a augmented reality, and it goes for 4 minutes, and you sit in this room, and it plays this projector screen around the whole room and on the table and things like that. It's really cool. I recommend highly you go there. So kids tickets are $16 for this event, and concession tickets are $25, and it runs till October. So everyone get out there
Absolutely.
and go.
Pick up a ticket.
Yes, pick up a ticket.
Now it's time for sport.
So now joining us in studio is Billy and Suhail to talk sports. How are we, boys?
Well, Charlie, good to be here.
Good. So Melbourne faces the West Coast Eagles this Saturday following their victory over Hawthorn. So how would you rate their performance against the Hawks, and do you reckon they can beat the Eagles?
I think they were pretty dominant against the Hawks, really, except
Yeah.
for a quick little patch at the start of the last quarter there. They probably had some
Demons
nerves
fans-
jangling,
yeah,
the D's
Demons
fans,
fans
but I
were-
think
Yeah.
they were, pretty dominant, far too
I
quick.
think they couldn't even
and-
believe the fact that they were doing that, you know?
Yeah, oh, well, they
Haven't been
better
there in a
believe it
while.
because they're a win away from a grand final, so they better believe it, the D's fans. So not sure how many of them will be able to make the trip
No,
over to
flights
Perth.
to Perth.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to go to Dublin.
I was thinking that. What is it, like 1,200 return? They're charging to Perth
Oh,
at the minute.
wow.
You're better off flying to London and watching it in
Yeah.
a pub there.
Oh,
rather
you
than
can-
spend the money over
Or
to
you can
Perth.
stay there and support Conor McGregor.
Oh,
That
exactly
fight's
right.
coming up as
That's
well.
true. That's true.
That'll be more interesting, wouldn't it? Than watching a couple AFL
But, I
players
think
kick a
I think
footy
it's
around.
set up for a pretty exciting end to the season.
How do you think it will go, Josh? I think they had West Coast had a few players out the last time they
Yeah,
played.
they did. I did have the D's going all the way to the grand final at the start
Gonna
of
remind
the start of the final, so I'll stick with it. But it is going to be a tough task against West Coast. Pretty daunting task over there in Perth, as you say. Kennedy didn't play last time, and Darling got knocked out. Jack Darling got knocked out in
Two
the
key
second
forwards, two
quarter, I
massive
think.
key
So
forwards for
West Coast are actually 11 wins and 0 losses when both of those two play.
Yeah, but Kennedy's
So-
actually saying that he's got a lot of rust.
He does,
He's
he
actually
does.
admitting that. I've
That's-
never seen anybody admit that.
That's all talk. You know,
You
that's
reckon?
that's
You
the
reckon he's
talk.
trying to
That's
psych
to
him out?
psych them out, and then he's going to come out and kick 12 goals.
I don't know
12
about 12.
goals.
I don't know about 12.
If he kicks 12, I'll back West Coast.
Yeah, back West Coast
We'll see
too.
what happens.
So Hale, the other big match last weekend was Collingwood and Greater Western
don't
Sydney.
remind me.
Collingwood will take on the Tigers. They defeated the Giants, and it's going to be a blockbuster. It's going to be a blockbuster here at the G on
It is.
Friday.
You're going to have people on the roof. I'm
How
telling
did
you.
they make? What did you make of the performance against GWS last week?
They, beyond my expectations, to be honest with you. I felt like Collingwood was just going to get knocked out after 2 games, to be honest. I thought they were going to buckle, but turns out the Pie Army is a bit stronger than I had first perceived. But I don't know. Don't we have a Collingwood supporter on the panel?
No. Are you looking at me?
No,
Aren't
we
you a
don't.
Collingwood supporter?
No. How
Where'd you get that?
No,
Where'd
I'm
you get that
kidding.
from?
No, I go for
know.
Hawthorn. No.
Hawthorn's, I think you should have said Collingwood instead.
From last week's results.
Yeah.
Would have got away with it.
No, tickets. We talked about flights with the Perth game, but tickets here sold out in
Yeah.
less than half an hour.
My mate was actually looking at a couple of tickets and he had 25 bids and there was like $4,000 for a ticket. It's almost on the roof.
Oh my god.
If you could fit 200,000, there'd be 200,000 going tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's not often that the MCG is too small, but on this occasion it is
Yeah.
far, far too small. I heard around the apparently there was only about 20,000 tickets per club to the competing members out of 100,000. So you got less than I've got Richmond who've got 100,000 members. Collingwood have got close to 80. So you've got about
180,000
a
people
quarter
who
of the
wanna go,
Collingwood
for
members
sure.
who are getting in, and less than a fifth of the Richmond members who are
There
going
are-
to get to go. So
There are a lot of fans on Twitter venting about how many tickets go to corporate AFL sponsors and stuff like that. Tickets, I think, will be a running battle anytime these Melbourne teams play off against each other. It will always be a sticking point.
it will always be a ticking point. We always with these sorts of things, it's always best to visualize them.
That's right.
To see them.
You can watch it on the
visually.
TV,
It was,
bro. You're
we
closer
re-
than anyone else, to be honest with you.
Our motion graphic last week, we received hundreds, if not thousands, of messages of
A lot
support
of
just for
praise.
the
I got
the
praise. I didn't
quality,
even make it.
just for the quality of the graphics. So have a
Here
look
it
at
is.
it
For
now.
sure,
and
look at
see-
it. Oh.
have a look and oh,
In
and
all its
what a
glory,
thing
yeah?
of beauty. We got Hawthorn and GWS there. They've faded out there. They're gone. So we got the two matchups there, and they can within sniffing distance of the Premiership Cup
Very
there,
close.
as we could see. So yeah, it should be a fantastic week.
And as you said, Tigers are 22 wins at the G in a row. We didn't get your tip for this game. Who's your tip for the Tigers?
Obviously, you know who
Pies.
I'm going for. Come on, mate.
Tigers?
You should know straight away off the bat, yes. Regardless of if Dusty plays or not, I feel
He'll
like
play.
Tigers-
This is that's like the Jack Kennedy.
He's like-
He
he's
will
like-
play.
I've never been
Just-
surer of anything than Dustin Martin will play on Friday night.
100%.
I'm gonna go a little bit conspiracy theory on you all
Nah.
here. I got a bit of so
Howard Holt, is he back?
well, not quite that. So say you're Damien Hardwick or you're Neil Baum at Richmond,
Yes.
and say your key players. They've got a lot of key players that are lesser heralded names, despite the fact they're Premiership players, like a Toby Nankervis or a Dylan Grimes. Say one of them was carrying a knock,
Yeah.
and you leaked to the media that Dustin Martin was carrying an injury, but he wasn't. All the attention all week he's going to be on number
so
4
he's
and how
deflecting.
fit he is. So is it maybe taking attention away from someone else who's carrying a niggle? That's a
I
little
don't think that's a conspiracy
theory, a bit of a
I don't think that's a
sideways.
conspiracy
I
bit of
think
a-
it's a
but,
tactic.
thinking
and
outside the box.
You might be on the money.
Mhm.
Do you know who else who is on the money? Kobe,
Well,
our pet predictor.
That's up in
Is
the
he?
air.
You
We'll
reckon?
see
Yeah,
how.
Well,
It's
we're about to
debatable.
find out.
About to
So
find out.
let's take a look at that.
we don't really know what I'm talking about.
It's Melbourne Demons grand final,
Fake.
according to Kobe.
I reckon it's fake. I reckon
Melbourne
someone
and the-
photoshopped that.
So finally something Kobe and I can agree on. We got the Demons and the Tigers in the grand final. Should be Should be exciting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
should be, huh?
Thanks for joining us, boys. I appreciate it. And
Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate.
Good to be here as
we'll
always.
We'll see how Kobe's predictions
Yeah,
go
we'll find out
next
soon. So now it is time for our Humans of Latrobe segment. We have Matthew Dawson, who is part of the Trobe Buddhist Studies Society here on campus. So now joining us in studio is Matthew Dawson. Welcome, Matthew.
Hi guys, good to be here.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about the Latrobe Buddhist Society.
Sure. So the Trobe Buddhist Society is a society for the study and the practice of Buddhism. And I started it because Monash and Melbourne had one, and we can't let them have all the fun, basically.
When
you
did
go,
your
Marshall.
sort of interest in Buddhism, and when did that start, and how did that sort of blossom into what it is now?
Yeah, sure. So I started meditating while I was actually at Monash doing my first degree, and my marks weren't so good. And I went to these meditation sessions, and my concentration subsequently started to improve, and my marks got much better. So I thought, oh, this is interesting, and I just kept following it, and got into the Tibetan Buddhist tradition.
Oh, wow, that's cool. So they run free meditation sessions at Latrobe, is that
that's
right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got drop-in meditation sessions. There's one, they're weekly, and there's one tomorrow from 11 to 11:30. Just plug
Everyone
that.
go to it. What are the types of things you do at these sessions? Like how do they go?
So we're basically teaching people or facilitating meditation, and it's tranquility meditation, which is a type of meditation. It's just basically the type of meditation that you see on mindfulness apps and things like that. But we're doing it like together, so there's a supportive atmosphere. You don't get notifications on Facebook or anything like that. And yeah, it's basically for people who are interested. They don't necessarily have to be Buddhists as well.
And is it for people who perhaps haven't sort of thought about meditating or going to even try meditation? What are some tips to sort of get yourself started, and where should they go to sort of learn how to meditate?
That's a good question. Really, Buddhists would say start anywhere. There's no real starting point. Everybody comes to Buddhism from different walks of life. And that's what I've actually been really drawn to about Buddhism. It's so accommodating. You don't have to be like a monk or a nun to practice Buddhism. It's never been like that. There's a common notion in today's society that that's the case, but it's really not. I'm someone who drinks, sometimes has the occasional cigarette, things like that. So,
so you sort of
it's really for everyone.
You sort of take into the mindfulness of the religion or of the faith, as opposed to the actual literal studies of it? Or?
No, I think at the start it was definitely the mindfulness, the mindfulness craze that's now in vogue. But this society really is for people who are interested in that, and also who want to go deeper, because really the benefits of meditation aren't really gained unless you go into the study and the practice, which is actually quite vast, deep and profound.
So there's a meditation session tomorrow, is that right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone go out there, go to the meditation session and relax. Thank you for joining us, Matthew.
You're welcome. Thanks. Good to be here.
So that's it for our show today. And we are not back next week. We're back the week after because we have uni break.
Which will be good for us. We can perhaps do some meditation.
It will. Yes, we can meditate.
Relax for our last month of university.
Yeah.
We have something for next show, which is again not next week, the week after.
Yes.
Uni Games is taking all the Uni Nationals is taking place during next week, and we'll be having a chat with the media guy here from Latrobe, Jared
Fabreo.
Fabreo, thank you very much. And he will discuss all the happenings from all the events across the Gold Coast next week.
And we also have a few of us here at the Extra Shot team are going to visit one of Australia's best pizzerias. So you'll see that in the next show. I want to remind everyone to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ExtraShotLTU for updates over the next 2 weeks for our show. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us in the studio today. And that is it for today. So we will see you next time.
Bye.